Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Hope your week's getting off to a good start. We are drawing close to the end of Acts, which will bring an end to Well in the Wilderness as we know it. But we really appreciate you joining us or watching this on Instagram over the next 24 hours. We're talking tonight about courage and asking the question, where could God give you more courage? Where could God give you more courage? I'll share a little story to start with, and then Anna will read from Acts 23, and then I might share some ideas of how to become more courageous. So I used to be terrified of public speaking. There were times when I was in Indonesia as a teacher, and I'd been taught how to teach to a class of 30, and I thought that I was fairly confident in front of groups of people, but I very quickly found out that I wasn't when I was put in unusual situations. So there was one occasion where I was asked to come and speak to the teenagers in the school when I was a primary school teacher. And I didn't put a lot of preparation in to this talk that I was going to do. I was invited to come and speak for 10 minutes on a topic, and I ended up talking for about half that time, because almost as soon as I stood up in front of the crowd of people, the students, I just became a mess. I was so scared of them, and so I've really needed to ask God for more courage, so that I can now look forward to talking to groups of particularly teenagers. I've now reached a point where if ardent students are coming to the church, there could be 100, 200 in the church, and I actually look forward to that instead of being scared. And I think it's all because of the courage that God has given me. And I believe that God wants to give you courage if there are areas of your life where you feel that you are fearful. God wants to meet you in that place and give you the courage you need. So we're going to find out tonight about the Apostle Paul and a time when he needed more courage, and then I'll tell you a little bit of how I potentially feel a little more courageous now. So thank you, Anna.
So from Acts chapter 23, starting at verse 1. Paul looked straight at the Sanhedrin and said, "My brothers, I have fulfilled my duty to God in all good conscience to this day." At this, the high priest Ananias ordered those standing near Paul to strike him on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, "God will strike you, you whitewashed wall. You sit there to judge me according to the law. Yet you yourself violate the law by commanding that I be struck." Those who were standing near Paul said, "How dare you insult God's high priest?" Paul replied, "Brothers, I did not realize that he was the high priest, for it is written, 'Do not speak evil about the ruler of your people.'" Then Paul, knowing that some of them were Sadducees and the others Pharisees, called out in the Sanhedrin, "My brothers, I am a Pharisee, descended from Pharisees. I stand on trial because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead." When he said this, a dispute broke out between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the assembly was divided. The Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, and that there are neither angels nor spirits, but the Pharisees believe all these things. There was a great uproar, and some of the teachers of the law who were Pharisees stood up and argued vigorously. "We find nothing wrong with this man," they said. "What if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him?" The dispute became so violent that the commander was afraid Paul would be torn to pieces by them. He ordered the troops to go down and take him away from them by force and bring him into the barracks. The following night, the Lord stood near Paul and said, "Take courage. As you have testified about me in Jerusalem, so you must also testify in Rome."
Thank you, Anna. Okay, three things. If you want to experience more courage in a particular area of your life, firstly, be prepared. Okay, if you find a particular situation scary, then prepare yourself for that situation. If it's public speaking, like it is in my case, I need to spend a lot of time beforehand preparing and going over the talk and over the talk and over the talk. So be prepared for whatever challenge you might potentially be fearful of. Second thing is recognizing that it's okay to be weak, because in our weakness, God proves his strength. Okay, in our weakness, God proves his strength. God has given us a spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. And that's from the Bible, so it's got to be true. So it's okay to be weak, because God then gives you his spirit of power to enable you to overcome your weakness. And the third thing is the fact that in recognizing that God has given us a spirit of love as well as power, we can see that love casts out fear. And we see this in the Bible, that if we face our fears and invite God to drive those fears out with his love, then he can do that. Particularly if we find something within what we're scared of that we can actually be passionate about. So actually, when I think about speaking to people, I love the fact that God has a message that he wants to share through me. And so the knowledge of that love can cast out the fear that I might have of then sharing that message. So again, the question tonight is, where do you need more courage? And three things to remember when you're facing some of the things you might be fearful of. Be prepared. It's okay to be weak, because God is strong, and perfect love casts out fear. So be encouraged to be courageous, just like the Apostle Paul, and let's believe that if you can be courageous enough to overcome your fears, then we'll hear some amazing testimonies of what God has done through you. Please feel free to share some of those testimonies with us through Instagram or email or message us, because we love staying in touch with you guys. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening. God bless you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.